Perfect. I just want to let you know that we are recording this town hall. So if you have any concerns with that, then we are recording it. So
where will we be putting this recording later? So will this be on the website or our YouTube or?
I can put it on the website and I can get probably Justin to post it to YouTube if that's where we want it.
Sounds good. That way anybody who can make it. We're up to 51, so.
YouTube and website. So we can post that afterwards. I just want to say thank you for joining us tonight, and we will the purpose of tonight's town hall is to certainly allow you to explore any thoughts you have, ask questions. We have a brief agenda, so if I can ask you to either put questions in chat or hold them till the end. Let's go through the agenda quite rapidly and then allow questions and chat at the end, because my style is I'll get drawn into one topic and it'll take an hour on that because I'm terrible. So I'll try and be disciplined, and then we'll really address a lot at the end. I would like to, there's a few folks that I would like to start with. There's a few new faces within New England First, so I would like to just shout out, there is a couple of new senior mentors. So Liz Califf, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Liz is covering, at the moment, she's covering Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And the goal is that Liz will cover Eastern Mass from Boston to the Cape. So there's a couple of asks at the end, or a couple of pieces of homework, and one is that we're looking for new senior mentors in Rhode Island and Western Mass. But at the moment, Liz is grabbing a lot of territory. Liz, do you want to just say a few words?
Hi, everybody. I think I've been around for a while, so some of you know me. And if you have questions, just send them my way. Lcalef, LCALEF at firstinspires.org, and I'll try to connect you with the right people. It seems like First Senior Mentors are the connecting people, so I'll try to do the best I can for you. And I'm getting real excited. I just saw my robot grab some game pieces, and we're going for it.
Perfect. Thanks, Liz. So that's a reminder to everyone that one of your key allies is your senior mentor. So at the moment, we have senior mentors for Connecticut, we have senior mentor for New Hampshire, we have senior mentor for Maine, for Massachusetts, and for Vermont. So Scott McCalla, are you on the call? So we may come back to Scott McCalla because I know he was going to join us. So Scott is the new senior mentor for Vermont. And I just want to shout out to Stacy for Connecticut. Stacy, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Stacy. Ken from New Hampshire. And Steve. Steve, are you on? Ken, you're here, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm
Yeah.
at the top of my screen.
Okay. And all I can see is his slides actually, and then Steve from Maine, and I know that Steve is up. Perfect.
I'm here.
The senior mentors are just your glue, as Liz said. They are wonderful. They're certainly my glue. I go to them for absolutely everything, and whether they like it or not. And that covers the whole of the program spectrum, from first Lego League, Discover, and pre-K all the way through. So they have a huge mandate. And I also saw, so I'm going to just make some introductions to board members, because I saw at least 3 board members on the call. So John Bugeaud, are you in the house?
I am.
Hello.
Perfect. And there's John. So John is in the middle of that photograph there. John, do you want to say a few words? John is our current board president.
Yeah, I just want to welcome everyone and appreciate them all giving of their time this evening. It's a busy time of year for all the FRC folks. And I heard somebody talking earlier about having to end the meeting early tonight so they could attend the town hall. And I understand all of the excitement and chaos that's going on this time of year. And so much appreciate that, because FIRST doesn't happen without all of you. And it's an exciting program. It's a proven program. It makes a difference in the lives of our young people. And again, I know how hard and chaotic this time of year is, and very much appreciate that. So thank you for that. And thank you for attending tonight.
Thanks, John. And Mike Sperber is our vice president. And Mike is, in this photograph, he's the cool dude with the sunglasses furthest away from me. So he's in the gray t-shirt and the long pants. Mike, do you want to say a few words? Because I saw that you were on the call. Mike, are you there?
Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
There we go. So, yeah, thanks, Michael, John. Great to see so many folks on the call this evening. To see some names and faces I've recognized from all these years, and some new names and faces. So that's wonderful. I've been involved with FIRST almost for 25 years. I kind of lost track, actually. I should probably sit down and count it. But I've had an opportunity to be involved with FIRST as a FRC mentor, and I think the only thing I haven't done in FIRST was as a student, and I don't think they'll let me go back and do that. So hopefully you guys will learn a lot about what's going on and have an opportunity to ask questions, and we will do our best to answer them.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. And then certainly I know that Frank Grossman is on the call. Frank is in this photograph. He's the one wearing the baseball cap. Frank is the board chair of New Hampshire FIRST, and he's on our finance committee as well. Frank, let me give the floor to you for a few minutes.
We'll do a quick hello. I've been involved for 20 years, mentored a couple different FRC teams and FTC teams, and started FIRST New Hampshire, and been around for a while, seen a lot of you before, and those who are newer, I can't wait to meet you at some events. Just as everyone else on the board said, appreciate all that you're going through and all the work, and that you come in here, and hopefully you'll hear some good things and we can answer questions, and be just a regular town hall. So look forward to meeting you all at events.
Perfect. Thanks, Frank. And Frank is will be hot footing it to NHTI on Saturday for the New Hampshire FTC state championship. So all is going on at a FTC level as well at the moment. So there's a lot happening. I don't know if Brian, Rena, or Jackie are on the call, or Donata. Any of those members on the call?
Yes, Donata, I am
Not
here.
fun.
Donata is one of our newer members from formerly from the Boys and Girls Club of Leominster and Fitchburg in Central Mass, and that Boys and Girls Club was in a very, very active STEM and STEAM community. So Donata, could I just ask you to say a couple of words?
Sure. I've been involved with FIRST Robotics for FRC and FLL for about 10, 12 years now, and find it a great jump off for kids who are interested in all types of STEM and STEAM, not just, robotics, but fields, the whole science field. So looking forward to meeting all of you and talking with you at some point, and look forward to a great meeting here.
Thank you so much.
This is my first town hall. So yeah.
And Donata is not in this picture. This picture was taken off an offsite retreat where the strategic plan was devised and developed. So that's part of the rationale for this photograph, because we will go into a little bit of a conversation about the strategic plan in a moment. But Rena and Brian, Jackie. Okay, Brian represents New Hampshire. Rena and Jackie represent Connecticut, and that rounds out our board at the moment. There is within one of these slides, and something for you to take away is there's a few little pieces. I like Dean Kamen's idea. He's going to give you homework, so I'm sort of giving you homework as well. And one is the idea of if you've got any recommendations for senior mentors within that Western Massachusetts and Rhode Island area, we can talk about that. Also, in terms of board representation, there's certain geographical areas that we would love to focus a bit more on: Maine, Rhode Island, and Vermont. And then certain skill sets around finance, legal, higher education are key areas of focus. Always development and fundraising and board governance as well. If you've been on boards before and you've got a good, strong sense of governance, that would be wonderful. Does not need to have a first background. So this doesn't need to be someone that's on the call tonight. You might know of someone that might have an interest in being involved. And if so, we have a nominating committee. So please share. We've got a nominating process that I can send out if you have folks that have an interest, and we can follow that up. Another of the reasons for this town hall is for you to pick apart the strategic plan, ask questions about the strategic plan, offer to help with the strategic plan if you believe you could. Maybe there might be committee work that you could get involved in, or you can ask more questions about why we went this way or that way. So it's really kind of a, if you like it, or if you think there's value in what we've created here, then please jump on board. And there's a role for everyone on this call. So I'm going to bounce into the strategic plan for just a moment. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but I do want you to know that this is how we're viewing the next few years within New England First. This is how we're hoping to focus on our areas of focus. And so there's within the plan, there's 4 areas of focus, and then they cascade down into strategies, metrics, and objectives. And this plan is also embedded on our website as well. So please go and take a look at it. But what I'm going to focus on tonight is really the action points of this plan. So I'm going to be accountable for the metrics of this plan. So my goal will be to report the metrics out to the board, and the board will have an understanding of the successes and failures or challenges that we have based on this plan. That's the thought process. That's the rationale. So, for example, under the core program performance, and we are certainly wanting to discuss if we're looking at ourselves as a youth development organization, which is one of the umbrellas that I look upon us as, and that is a youth development organization, that is number of students served. So one of the metrics for the core program performance, if we're looking at providing all New England students access to our programs by removing barriers and providing opportunities for the underserved, one of the metrics I'm looking at is how many actual students are we serving? How impactful are we across our district with the number of students? The statewide adoption of programs is another measurement. Team growth across all programs, and then access and demographic diversity. And so there's, there's only 4 bullets there, but the action is embedded behind those metrics in terms of the various decisions that we're going to have to make to address those metrics. So that's the thought process of the first area of focus. So there's strategies and the objectives that are there, but it's for me it's the metrics that are important to try and capture. Because in years to come it will be, are we moving the needle? Are we doing more? Are we doing less? How are we improving our community in terms of providing access to programs for students? The second area of focus is community engagement, and the definition of that is to develop a diverse and inclusive community while improving awareness and participation in New England First programs. And I acknowledge this is the grandest language that we wish to present. This is not a background document. This is an upfront and center document providing a bold statement, and that's why that language is so grand. So the metrics of this piece again is the percentage of volunteers recruited, the percentage of mentors in the district, the alumni growth and engagement, and then the visibility and social media awareness. So some of the areas around how are we actually lifting our messaging up within the community. And so again, while even reading this tonight, I recognize behind those metrics, there's more that we need to do to really capture what do we do to develop a diverse and inclusive community, and what more can we capture within that metric. So that metrics set is not set, it's not fixed. The third area of focus is financial sustainability, and that is to secure new and strengthen existing relationships with donors, fundraising partners, and state government. And at this point, I will state that education and state government is the direction I believe we will go to be most impactful and to have most sustainable growth. Working with industry is vital and it's critical, but CSR objectives for industry changes, they move away, they close, they have different priorities. So it's not as reliable as the focus on government and education and understanding how we can partner to bring in STEM and STEAM curriculum into both in the classroom and after school. So that piece is, and that's where advocacy comes in. And I saw Nick Gallotti on the call. So at the end, we'll allow Nick to talk a little bit about the state advocacy conference for teams. So the actual team support of advocacy is important. My own influence and the state advocates that we are putting in place is also important, because I think that's where our future may lie. And with the new CHIPS Act, there's money out there, there's opportunities for us to understand how we navigate with advanced manufacturing and other avenues to really secure longer term sustainable funding. And so the metrics of the financial sustainability is total revenue raised, total new revenue value raised, and then program demand, sales, revenue generation, and optimization. So all the areas around how can we capture where our finances are coming from, how they're growing, and what sustainable model are we putting in place for our finances. And then finally, and this is where governance comes in from a New England board effectiveness aspect, is ensure the implementation of an effective organization and management structure across New England. So the goal is that the board has oversight for the nonprofit New England First. Ingenuity NE is our other operating name, and that they have the governance responsibility for making sure that we thrive and we progress and we grow, and our culture is one of to coin Woody every single time, this culture of gracious professionalism and cooperation, which I truly love those words. I think they really are valuable for our community, for our culture, and I know the board is the governance body for that culture. So it all ends with our New England board, and some of the metrics for that is the results of the scorecard. So we have a scorecard, a dashboard scorecard that the results are accountable there. A board assessment survey is both individually and collectively, how are you doing as a board member, and then the collaboration and shared vision with the leadership of First in Manchester, New Hampshire. So the critical area there is, I know that First in New Hampshire, the board of First headquarters in Manchester, New Hampshire, are working on a strategic plan as well. And so aligning the global First vision with New England First vision is critical. We have to be cohesive and collaborative in that avenue. And so those are the 4 areas of focus, and those are the metrics that we're endeavoring to capture to account for those areas of focus, so there is a level of action that's behind the plan. And so we meet monthly, we have board meetings monthly, and I am transitioning to a model where in my executive report, it will be a strategic action report. It's like, okay, what am I doing to address areas of our strategic plan? What have I moved the needle on? What have I not done anything with? And so that helps me. That will give me a structure. And then the bottom of our plan, and this is just a broad set of factors for success, is relationships and reputation and reach and resources and results. And I don't want to speak too much to any of those, because they are all probably areas that you focus on for your own teams as well. And so I think they are all relevant to all of us, because actually looking at all of them, they are all areas that would be resonant and relevant to your own team communities as well. So I'm going to end there with the strategic plan, knowing that we will come back to this for questions. I want us to get all topics in the book first, and then we can come back. So I am going to invite David Gibbons to step up to the microphone and talk a little bit about the Dean's List interviews, which has just been sent out, and just so that you have a bit of an awareness of what's going on with Dean's List interviews. Thanks, David.
Well, thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. So David Gibbons, one of the senior judge advisors for here in New England. And we just sent out the Dean's List interview schedule last night. So this was sent to all lead and secondary mentors of students who were nominated. So if you didn't nominate any students as Dean's List finalists, you wouldn't have seen the email here. What this table is just letting you know which event your students will be interviewing at based off of your team number. If you nominated 2 students for Dean's List, they will both be interviewing at the same event. And that's a rule that First HQ puts in place and that we execute out. So you have the schedule here. You see where your students will be interviewing. In terms of specifically when they will be interviewing, that's going to be up to the judge advisor at each individual event, and they'll be making that schedule together with their Dean's List judges. So that will be released on the load-in evening of the event. So for most events, that's going to be Friday evening, but obviously if it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event, move that back one day. And that'll typically be released at Pitt administration. So you want to go ahead and check that. We have a policy that HQ has also put in place that if you cannot make the time of the interview that the judge advisor has set, that we encourage teams to work with other teams and try to swap spots. And there's a particular process for that. But with that being said, if any students have an issue, let's say, for example, right, SATs fall on that particular day, there's some other major conflict and you need to move to another event, reach out to me or either directly to me or through your first senior mentor, and we can work on getting that switched out. Obviously, we want every student to interview. In terms of the process then, at each event, 2 students will be picked as Dean's List Championship semifinalists to move on to interview again at the district championship. And so that will happen on Friday of the event. That's April 7th at the district championship. And students can then, who are selected at that level, will be able to interview either in person or remotely. We would prefer in person to meet with our judges, but obviously not everyone can make the trip from where you are to the Big E. And at the district championship, of those 20 students, we'll narrow it down to 5 who will go on to represent New England at the World Championship. So that's kind of a quick overview, but as any questions pop up, feel free to ask in the Q&A section of the town hall or contact your first senior mentor and they can work with me and Candy to help answer them.
Perfect, David. Thank you so much. I got a couple of more introductions I wish to make before we go to the next section. And one is, I believe Scott McCalla has joined the call from Vermont. Scott, are you on?
Yes, sir. Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Scott. I just would love you just to say a few words. This is your first year as a senior mentor. How is it?
Well, it's been great. We started an organization just over a year ago called First in Vermont, with basically very similar vision and mission to First, and that is to grow and sustain teams and to provide access to all students in all parts of Vermont to First programs. And it's going great. We had a really good growth year. We're definitely in growth mode overall, and it's fun. It's great. We've got a really good group of adults that are working on pieces of this puzzle all the time. So yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Scott. That's great to hear. And my final intro is Jacob Jensen. I think he was on the call. We moved on, but Jacob has actually joined us as a staff member, and his title is Project Support Specialist, and he's got particular purview for Massachusetts. Jacob, are you still on the call? Do you want to say a few words?
I am. Thank you, Michael. Part of my remit as the Project Support Specialist is working with WPI on a grant that WPI wrote in conjunction with First, which is looking to put Lego education curriculum in schools, fully supported with kits, professional development, and standby assistance from us. So far, we have Fitchburg on board, and we are very close to bringing Randolph on board. And as we go on into the next year of funding, we are looking to bring on more schools in Massachusetts. This is for middle schools, grades 6 through 8. If you have a school in your district that you think might be worth looking at, we are looking obviously for underserved regions and students. Feel free to reach out to me, jjansons@newenglandfirst.org, and I will gladly investigate that opportunity for you.
Perfect, Jacob. Thank you so much. And a quick reference to that relationship between WPI and NE First. So we work together, heavily driven by WPI, to create a grant opportunity. This is our rationale for the different states that we're working with. And at the moment, and I'm working with the governor's office in Connecticut to devise some language around outreach. So another broad ask is if you have thoughts on ways to to navigate relations that would allow us to have more access to elementary schools or middle schools for programmatic outreach, then let's have a conversation. Let's explore that. That's what's driving us. That's what's exciting. And I know as teams, you've done some wonderful work at an FRC level to go in and develop new FLL programs, and that's fantastic. And we're just wanting to do more of that at a state level. So thank you for that, Jacob. Thank you. Where are we, Sam? Can I just say team packets will be posted to the website.
I have them for one of the week 1s and one of the week 3s. So the team packets are slowly coming, and will be on the website on this link as soon as possible.
Is that the best place to go?
They're also emailed to the teams directly. So this, if you want to kind of learn about anything in particular with the team packets, the dates, the times, the locations of the district events, you'll find everything here. But also Scott emails every particular team if there's an update from the event committee.
Perfect, Sam. Thank you so much. So Sam Spain, I just need to give a shout out, senior VC for New England, but is also just she developed the website, she hosts the website, she is the website, and just super resource all around. So Sam, thank you so much. The second bullet is so I pulled this piece out of a larger document that again Colleen Shaver and WPI crafted a number of years ago, and then they've kept managing it and developing it, and New England First is adopting it, and it's the best in class event management document. It's a large spreadsheet. If you want to run an event then do this. If you want to run it well, do this. If you want to run it really well, do this. If you want to run it out of the park, then do this. And so of course I'm dumbing down the language, but it's a broad outline for event chairs as to this is what a high quality event should look like from access, from AV. This is a piece that we're adding and wishing to do more with, and that's around event accessibility. So team members that are here, and there's 59 participants, hopefully there's a lot of others that you might share with your network, is if there is a particular desire, request, expectation for event accessibility, then we wish to address it, we wish to accommodate it, we wish to know so that we can have it in place in advance, so we don't have to make it a big deal. And Amanda Bissett, excuse me, Amanda Bissett has kindly offered to be the point person for this conversation. So anyone that has I thought about this. This is particularly important as we go forward. So as we look at 2024 and beyond, it's like this event accessibility will be embedded in that venue conversation. What does the venue need to have for it to be an appropriate venue for a New England First event? So that is, and Amanda is going to be a big part of that whole event success conversation, including venues. So again, another piece of homework is in terms of potential venues and wonderful places that we could go in the future. Please let us know. Let me know. Let Scott Heaton know, and we will we'll explore it. Final piece on the district championship model is so they're similar to last year. However, a little larger. There's going to be 90 teams that will be eligible to come to district championships. So 2 fields of 45 teams each. There's a little bit of a different model at district champs in that we're going to take over another building as well. So the pits will be located, and there will be a program expo as well, and there will be a full practice field as well. The hotel blocks are already available, I believe, up and running on the website. And I'm just, Ken, you have your hand up. Sorry, I'm just. Then we will have another town hall probably mid-competition season to focus on DCMP. Ken, you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, can I just one real quick plug on the district champs? Michael just mentioned that we're going to have a third building, and so we're setting up an expo in one of those buildings, and we're inviting First Lega League Explore Challenge and First Tech Challenge teams to come, and we're going to set up we'll have a competition field for FTC and a competition set up for First Lega League Challenge, and an expo area or festival area for the First Lega League Explore. So if you have teams in your area that maybe you're affiliated with, invite them to come and play with us during that weekend. More information will be going out in the coming week, and formal invitations to each of the teams in New England will go out. But I just wanted to put it on everyone's radar too, that we want to build this thing up to be more than FRC and have and do that by inviting the other programs.
Thanks, Ken. No, that it's good that you put some color to the expo, because in actual fact we would also like some other, so that will be an opportunity for universities to come. We're also reaching out to trade schools and other entities from industry that might wish to come and present as well. So it's, again, if you have folks in your sphere of influence that you think you would like to see at the expo, or if you think it'd be interesting for students and families to explore, then please let us know, and we will invite them.
Michael, one more thing. I thought I was
Yes.
done, but yeah, if anyone has direct contacts with anyone with BattleBots in New England, we would like to hear from them. So we thought that would be a nice little ad. So
perfect. I think that's all on the district event update.
Michael, we have some questions in the chat.
Yeah, can we
First
just
one-
get to the senior mentor? So I was going to ask about the senior mentor, if the senior mentors had any updates from a first HQ focus, and then I was going to just go straight into discussions and questions, if that is okay. So putting the senior mentors on the spot somewhat, is there anything, because the senior mentors have their own frame of reference, and they meet with First in Manchester, and so again they're critically important to our district. Is there anything that you wish to focus on tonight prior to going to questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm looking at everyone else's heads shaking no. So
okay. Okay, I can't see any head shaking. So I will let's jump into questions.
Michael, did you want me to read a few from the chat? There's been some questions and answers in the chat.
Okay.
So
yeah, please.
One of them this is an easy one. The competition will be in the same arena that we were in last year, and Scott responded that they are working on a floor solution so that we won't be banging nails into dirt like we were last year. And the next question was, does base registration fee cover the 2 events or 3? I can take that one too. Your registration is to First Headquarters is for the 2 district events. There is a subsequent fee. If you qualify for the district champs, there will be another, there is a fee associated with that. Likewise, if you then progress to the Houston Championship, there's also a fee there too.
There was a question about, is the accessibility conversation about physical accessibility? It comes from a blog that first posted in December, where they had accessibility updates referencing things like seating, the quiet rooms, the availability of those at different events. And so there are many things that it means to First, and there are many things that we hope it will mean to any First. And that's where kind of receiving the requests from teams about, what makes an event inaccessible to you, that is something that we can, address once we've heard from our teams.
I'll give 2 examples of that. One is, so we recruit sign language interpreters for FTC events in Connecticut, and I don't know if all teams know that is an opportunity that's available, or we're New England First is prepared and interested and engaged in managing that kind of consultant outreach if needed, and recognizing that we're doing a walkthrough at the district event at the Big E Eastern Expo in Western Mass tomorrow, partly to see if there's any way from a physical accessibility seating arrangement to make it more accessible for members of teams that have challenges with stairs and seating, because it's not a super friendly accessible venue. It is somewhat, but can we make it so that it's not a challenge? And that's what Scott Heaton and some of his colleagues are going to look at tomorrow. So how can we address that? So again, the more questions you can raise around broad accessibility, and this actually cascades all the way down to all programs, is what are we doing and what are we not doing? So can we do more?
So there's a comment in the chat too, Michael, about this is to David Gibbons, though, to confirm the process regarding Dean's List interviews.
Yep. So
notified.
Yep. So just want to stress that only the lead mentors in First System, so lead mentor 1 and 2, received the information and assignments. Students did not. So please make sure to pass that along to your students. And if you are not lead mentor 1 and 2, but you are a mentor on the call, please get with your lead mentors and just double check to ensure that students get this, because we have this happen every year where some students don't get notified because it's assumed that they've been. We don't directly interact with the students just because of YPP reasons. So please make sure to pass that along.
I will give a shout out to the WPI community field. There's another one in the main mall that Steve Martin and James Lockman are heavily involved in. This is what we're going to strive to do within New England First, is to try and help communities get more fields that have accessibility. So I know that James and Steve are capturing data around how many teams are coming to use the field. This is an equity and inclusion conversations, like teams that can't get access to fields, so they can't practice driving, they can't do a lot of things that other teams can do. WPI has created a community field that you can sign up for. Again, recognizing that if you're in Southern Connecticut or Northern Maine, that is not an accessible option, but it is for a number of teams. And the more that we can prove that it's valuable, the more I can go out and I can write grants for funding to create field space. What I'm mostly need, quite honestly, is I need physical square footage. The fields, they're expensive, but we can deal with the fields in some capacity, but it's where do we put them, and where do we put them in a somewhat permanent basis? So similar to Maine and WPI, they're creating makerspace hubs. They're creating community access spaces that are what we want around the district. Now, I know that some of you would love that. Some of you may have access to fields already, and so it's less important. But that is, I just wanted to make a big celebration of that.
And there are many people here who run these practice fields, both half and full. We put a number of them into the latest Any First newsletter. So if you are not already subscribed, I would suggest signing up for that. You can subscribe on the website. But I left one out. So there was the one that FRC 1073 hosts, a half field up in New Hampshire. But we had also had listed the field hosted by 195 and 175 in Connecticut. Those are two different ones. They do not host together. You have the WPI field, you have the main field, and there's the half field in Vermont with our friends from the iBots. So there are so many places right now that teams can hopefully take advantage of when your robots are done. My team's robot isn't done, so we can't go anywhere, but soon.
So I did see, I'm seeing it on the screen now, a question from Blake about organizing a truck from DCMP to Houston. Scott, remind me, what's the answer to that question?
So it will not be going from DCMP to Houston. We are arranging at least one truck, maybe two, that will be making stops throughout New England to pick up teams' gear interested in going to Houston.
I have a question for you, Scott, and this came from an FTC team because last year we took FTC equipment as well, which was very, very well received. However, FTC is starting on the Tuesday, not the Wednesday. Can we get our truck accepted to the loading bay on the Tuesday in Houston?
Absolutely not. We can only load in when FRC load in is. So we can't take FTC robots, but we can take their pit material like we did last year. And so we took toolkits and chairs and whatever they want to put in their pit, but we cannot take the robot. The robot has to be inspected before our truck gets received.
Yep. No, I remember that last year, and that's why they were asking. They wanted us to take robots as well on the Tuesday, but okay, fine, thank you. I can't see any of the questions. So are there other questions right there? I do want to bring Nick Galati into the conversation, but I want to sort of get some of the other questions done first. Events are open to all of the public this year. I will state that we have we're following CDC best practices for any COVID protocols. So as it stands at the moment, there are no specific mask mandates. There's no specific COVID mandates. We will be driven by the event spaces that we go to. So we have 11 different venues that will be participating in. Depending on what those venues dictate, those will be our guidelines for that. But we are crossing our fingers at the moment that this is going to be a fairly calm year. This is certainly my own world. This will be my first year to be at an event with spectators. Last year, as you know, it was much more refined. So you'll be able to bring all of your teams to events, which will be just a super celebration. Nick Gallotti. So Nick Gallotti he runs the advocacy conference. It used to be called Southern New England. It's still SNEAK, Southern New England Advocacy Conference. It is now States of New England Advocacy Conference, which I love. It's SNEAK is still SNEAK, but it's coming up soon, and there's been an active committee discussing it for weeks and weeks now. Sign up is not super, and I'm going to just allow Nick to pitch the advocacy conference, which is coming up at the end of February. Nick.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, so SNEAK is coming up. It's an event where we train everyone how to talk to their elected officials, and then we help you set up meetings with your elected officials with the goal of helping us try to encourage the states to fund teams. Like we're just but first we need to let them know, hey, we exist. Some states already do. New Hampshire already gets some funding. Other states need some work with that, but we're trying to help every team do that. The event is both virtual and in person. You can go and attend in person if you want at WPI, or you can virtually attend through Zoom. To make a big difference, we just need like 2 people per team, because that basically means we get more spread throughout the entire state of representation covered. You don't need your whole team, just 1 or 2 people, and we can make a big difference. This is a multi-year process, so the sooner we get involved, the better. The registration deadline was yesterday, but we still accept registrations right up until the event starts on the 26th of February.
Perfect. Nick, thank you so much. So please support as you can. We, as New England, beyond the advocacy for teams, we are putting in place state advocates, and that's 1 or 2 folks within each state that will be sort of year-round understanding of what advocacy, it's not lobbying per se, but is a form of advocacy to try and understand how to connect with lawmakers in the state. The team aspect is very localized. It's very valuable because you can talk to your local lawmaker, bring them into your build space or to your school. So there's value there. There's also value at the broader state level. And again, going back to what I was talking about, government and education funding earlier, is going to be kind of our oxygen in years to come, is how I believe.
Yeah, and we're well aware this is a terrible time of year for this. However, this is the time of year every state is creating their budget, so this is the right time to be talking to them, and it's just terrible for us.
And that allows me to say just a couple of words of celebration to certainly to Frank and Ken and anyone else that's in the room from New Hampshire, because the New Hampshire Governor Sununu, in his budget address for the state of New Hampshire a couple of nights ago, verbally referenced FIRST in his speech, which was pretty remarkable, and talked about FIRST being in every classroom in New Hampshire, and using a program that is coming out of that's being partly developed through WPI. It's called the XRP. So if you go to WPI's site, there is a link to this. It's like if you remember when you were doing mini bots, it's a form of a mini bot that can be made for $50, and or you can build it from other parts. So it's very cool. It's a cheap and accessible model. It's an augmenting tool for joining teams for other programs. It's not a program unto itself, but it's a super way to engage with robotics in the classroom. So well done, New Hampshire. Thank you to the governor for that. And that's so maybe next year's town hall we can talk about governors in other states making huge pronouncements in a similar way about what FIRST is doing in their state. And that's certainly the agenda, and that is what I have to share tonight.
I'll be after one time. Okay.
I would, if there's any further questions, happy to take them. You've got our email. I was remiss. I did not introduce Scott Heaton. Scott Heaton is
Looking to see if
logistics.
that meeting is still going on.
Yes, it is.
Nope, there she muted.
It's still going on. And Scott Heaton is our director of logistics for FRC across the 6 states. So my bad, Scott. You're just omnipresent. So I didn't introduce you. But is there anything that you wish to share, because you're getting into your crunch time?
No, I'm just excited for the game. We finally received all our game pieces, and we're getting that all loaded up in the pods and ready for the events to start in 2 weeks. And to the teams that are going to week 0, good luck.
Oh yeah, so there is a state championship for FTC in New Hampshire, and there is a state championship for FTC in Connecticut, both on Saturday. So there's two big state champs going on, and then week 0 is coming up as well. So good luck to all of you in your ending moments of build season. From a last outreach from me relating to VIPs or special folks that you may wish to come to an event. Remember, because we can actually allow an audience to come. If you think within your community there's someone that could be excited by seeing an FRC competition, may be interested in any aspect, whether it's volunteering or donating or being an advocate, or if they have position of influence, please invite them. Let us know as well, so we know they're in the house, so that we can celebrate them as well and thank them and allow them to ask questions. So the event chairs for each event are very good at sourcing VIPs. You as well, there's 55 folks still on this call. You might know some folks that you sort of say, oh, we should get them to this event. Please let us know, because that again is part of our understanding of, we need the teams to be successful and to thrive. And I know that you have your own fundraising models, and then New England First has their model as well. And the idea is that all boats will rise with this tide. So there's never any belief that by us fundraising more than a team, we're not about a competition. We want us all to survive. And if we can bring money in and cascade it down to teams, that is what we wish to do. So again, please know that we are an ally rather than a foe. And I will stop talking, because I could talk all night. Any final questions?
I just want to remind everybody that probably between weeks 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, we will have another town hall to discuss district champs and Houston champs.
Perfect. Thank you all for your time tonight. And again, our emails are around and they're on the website as well. Don't be shy. Please let us know what you're thinking. And this has been recorded, so we will stick it on the website and we'll stick it on YouTube, and it will be there for other folks to reference. Okay. Thank you so much.